Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. We're getting ready to go into our final game of the day, which is London versus Viperio. Now, both these teams are 1-on-1, so it could be a tight one here.
Yeah, it could be a tight one. I think Viperio, feeling pretty jubilant about getting their win last week into, I believe it was Envision. And yeah, whilst 1-on-1, I feel like London also had to kind of pay what potentially is looking like resolve tax yet again. Split back to back. So 1-on-1, yes, but London still definitely do look like it could be one of our stronger teams. Of course, did take down Eminem. Albeit Aragon, who we just had an interview, did say it was a bit of a blip, bit of a poor day for them. So who knows? But yeah, I think Viperio is still probably on the harsher end of the matchup. I think across the board, London should be okay at handling this 1-to-1.
I do feel this is probably a little bit London favoured. The scores might be slightly deceptive on that, but then again, you never know. Viperio, they are in the same position as them right now, and we'll have to see exactly how this game's going to go down. Let's talk a bit about the picks, because we obviously haven't seen the Gwen all day. It was open in the first game, but then banned in the second two. Yep. Diego showed its face a little bit more. So, there are some picks, but maybe we could see kind of rear their head here. I'm still itching to get my hands on a Gwen game, because we haven't had a Gwen game at all. And the one time in the NLC we got a Gwen game, I was hosting. I didn't get to cast it.
I was casting. He was on the desk. So it felt pretty bad. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I'm not sure what the likelihood is of us getting the Gwen, unfortunately. But if there is one thing I will say when it comes to picks, I would like to see a bit of deviation here from Viperio. I want to see something more traditional in the mid lane, unless Xerath is actually the pick, which in the Envision game you can make an argument, but I don't want to see it just kind of defaulted to. I want to see a little more variety here. And I want to see something a little closer to meta, and I want to see Viperio actually look a little hungrier, a little more aggressive, like the Elise Renekton. Even though the Elise is kind of out of place in terms of the meta, an aggressive kind of top side to play into Shida could be good, right? We've seen Kum take over the game when he's given the space as well, so playing towards the bottom side can also be an option, but I just want to see something a little closer to standard when it comes to the meta end. Unfortunately, I know you kind of made your face, no Gwen, banned away by Viperio, followed up by that Rumble too.
It's an understandable ban. Now that Akali's open, the Ezreal's open, there's quite a lot still open. The Udyr as well, which we have seen as kind of like a pickup in this kind of still considered as like a top tier jungler. So we'll see what the next ban is going to be. It does look like London have kind of slowed down this ban phase. They're trying to think through what they want to ban away. You take the Volibear off the table here from Johnny Rico. We have seen him play that previously. And now it's over to the side of Viperio, and the Karma has been very high presence and very high priority in the UKLC, pretty much exclusively as kind of like the S tier pick for this league is going to get banned away. But this does mean the Akali's open, the Lee Sin's open, the Ezreal's open.
Varus,
there's
loads
a lot of strong picks. Yeah. There's so many things that are open right now. The Viego as well.
If I'm Viperio, I'm looking at something here like Ezreal Udyr. I think you just lock in the strongest AD carry on the patch, and I think you take a jungler which is going to just almost always be kind of useful, and you wait to see what London Esports do, because if they decide to try and go something like that Kai'Sa plus an aggressive support, well then boom, R3 you can just lock in something like Braum, and it just gets really, really hard for London to play into the bottom side. Now, we're not going to see necessarily the Udyr right now with this Xin Zhao lock-in. Johnny Rico, I wouldn't necessarily call him a specialist, but he does like this champion. He's played it quite a bit historically throughout the UKL as well. So let's see. I'm expecting an AD carry pick. I don't want to see the Jinx again. Not that it's bad, but I think if you blind it, you're just going to end up dealing with another scaling pick, and you run into some issues there potentially. But they're going to do it anyway, sticking to what they know. So let's see what London decides to respond with here. Yeah.
I feel, they're the pick of the litter. They can get the Ezreal, they can get the Varus.
I think you go Varus.
Yeah.
I think you just take the strong lane presence of Varus. You've already got what is, probably going to be weak side on the top side of the league. But no, they actually want the Ezreal. So one of the things I'm not necessarily too fond about with this Ezreal into Jinx is that specifically you have to, Ezreal yields the lane a lot of the time. And if you're giving Jinx a free time, then all of a sudden you're probably running into issues. Whereas if you've got something like the Varus, which can scale decently well into the mid to late game, even with some of the lethality builds, depending on the champions he's against, you get the lane priority, You always have threat onto the Jinx. You threaten her to have to take things like cleanse, just from the AD carry, not even the support. But for now, we're going to see this Leona paired up with it, and I think Viperio likely to just lock in something to match the support pick here.
Could just go for the Braum here.
Yeah,
do pretty well into this matchup.
Hearthstone really leans on the Alistar as well, so that could be something that comes out.
Does. Yeah.
Specifically just for the Leona matchup 1-to-1, though Nautilus will be the choice of support out of everything here. Trying to potentially lock down the Ezreal, just of course the ultimate can still track, and here we go, a Kali ban, they don't have to deal with that one. A lot of mobility already available to the London champions, so don't want to have that stacked on top, which says to me, probably looking for something a little more static in the mid lane, as there you go, Xerath actually moved away, so they don't want to have to deal with it. Just because it's one of those champions that you won't scrim against consistently, or pretty much ever. Yeah. So it just becomes frustrating to play against. Even if you feel like it's a bad champion, knocking somebody off comfort, or if they're one-trick pony, can just be so powerful.
Well, the LeBlanc is the final ban here. Denial from Beely. Makes me a little sad as the LeBlanc main, but they're going to take away the set as the final ban here. Now Viperio looking for their next rotation. Probably just going to look to pick up a... actually, I don't know, because it's mid or top. Who do you think they want to kind of focus the... Okay, Doran. It's going to be a counter pick mid, so they're going to go for the Renekton blind here. And now London, over to them to see what they decide they want to try and lock in as their next rotation here. What do you think they're going to pair up here?
I mean, I think you need a little bit of magic damage here. So you could honestly see like any jungle plus AP mid. They're going to throw the Malphite up towards the top side. I'd imagine that probably gets locked in here for Akers, just because Zinzao or Renekton just lock in a tank. You've already got 3 all attacking champions.
No.
Okay, last tank as well. That says to me that they're maybe looking at it as an option, because that was such a late swap. But we'll have to see. Maybe they were just holding it until last second anyway. It's sometimes hard to read just off hovers alone. But there you go. AP jungle that we was looking for out of the Diana. And lots of hovers. Honestly, quite a fair few top lane options. I still think when you're playing against the Jinx, who currently doesn't really have many PL options, an engaged tool like Malphite just so impressive.
So to me, that is now a disgusting one-bar combo. That is level 6, just headbutt your keyboards and point your mouses at Kukin, because you've got the Diana R, the Moonfall, you've got the ulti from both Jeppe and Akers. There's just so much lockdown. This is a really, really scary comp, but something that is also scary is the fact that 2P has decided to lock in the Sylas, which has, you know, kind of pick of the litter in ultimates. There is not a bad ultimate for him.
There's not really a bad ult here. Yeah.
Ulti.
Yeah, no, like, you know, Leona ult's going to lock someone down. Malphite's got really scary potential. Same with the Moonfall. Dragon's Kick is great for the 1v1s, and if you can find angles for team fights, then all the better. So yeah, pretty solid Sylas lock in my opinion. It could potentially struggle into the Lee a little bit in terms of like sustain in the long run, but again, Kingslayer, you know, it will heal you up, but I'm talking more the mana issues that could eventually occur because Lee Sin is an energy champ. But yeah, I think this time around, a much better drug from Viperio in my opinion, because they actually have lanes to play around. They've got early game tools, they've got scaling aspects. And on the London side, same thing kind of. You've got a little bit of priority you would expect, you know, from the mid lane. From the bottom side of the map, things can definitely go your way. And I think realistically, if you're London, you just have to pay a bit of respect to this Zinzao, try and avoid skirmishing into him specifically, and you can probably find a fair amount of success across the map.
I do worry when, you know, we kind of ignore the bot lane that is realistically going to be Viperio favored. I feel that when we get, you know, into this post 6 mark and London do start just to pull the trigger, ease of execution, that trigger word that we've used so many times, is there for London. That is not a particularly hard comp to pull a team fight off on. You can snap engage, you can use the ultimates defensively, or at least the solar flare in the kick to kind of peel away from your team. You know, they have the tools to start fights and disengage fights on their terms. And I feel like Viperio, you know, it's reliant on 2P stealing away, you know, the likes of a solar flare or a unstoppable force, or, you know, a great depth charge from Hase or a great hook. So it feels like, for me, the ease of execution is definitely London favored. We'll just have to see how they can kind of, you know, survive this bot lane early. Obviously, Akers is going to be not shoving versus Shida. It's going to be, you know, that's also going to be a map, kind of an absorb lane. So we'll have to see how they kind of survive this early game.
as we get a pause. And I've just sat down, so
Up you get.
man, you just want to get a little bit of rest, you know?
Just so you know, it is purely a settings issue, so this is really quick. This isn't like an internet ping or anything. Teams are ready, so we'll be going back into the Rift, and Shimada, you have to get yourself ready to sit down, because the timer is going.
I just wanted a bit of rest, man.
I'm sitting down, I'm fine.
I know, right now. But I've got the standing set up, but in the heat, it's starting to get to me a little bit as the day rolls forward.
Yeah, I'm feeling the heat right now. Luckily the camera's not showing it, but I am a little sunburned right now. Which is suboptimal.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really ended up being sunburned that bad.
Yeah,
I've definitely been tanned. What, sunburn? You definitely get like.
But that's because you sleep all the time, so you just don't go out. So how often do you see the sun, Jamada?
Very often, actually.
Minions have spawned.
What, have you got like a picture of it in your room or something?
Yes, exactly. I mean, my room does face the sun, so I actually see the sunrise every morning because I'm still awake.
Oh yeah, I guess actually that is something you get. And like you're in a flat, so you're quite high up, so you've probably got quite a nice view of the sun actually rising.
Yeah, I see it over the horizon every morning.
That is actually quite lovely.
Yes, that is.
I don't know, man. I've got a sunrise facing room as well, east facing room, and
it's not great in the morning.
It just warms the like your room is so hot in the morning. It sucks.
It doesn't feel great, I will admit, but just have a fan and you're probably okay. Until we start talking about the really
I have a low tolerance for heat, so I'm very much a winter person.
That's understandable. I mean, winter's not. I mean, I don't know. So you prefer winter? I'm more of a summer. No, I'm more of a spring person.
Yeah,
like a late spring person.
Spring's lovely, yeah, because spring's like you get the benefits of summer without it being meltingly hot.
Yeah, and I mean, here, at least here in the UK, often it's pretty cool for a majority of spring. But
yeah,
sometimes you get those nice kind of, high teens Celsius days.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're lucky in the UK because we get basically all seasons fairly defined. We get like a proper winter, we get a proper autumn. Like, I am absolutely a later half of the year guy. Like, I love autumn and winter. I think autumn is gorgeous when it's all like orange with all the leaves. And I like coats. All right, I'm a coat guy. So being able to put my coat on, absolutely great. Winter's great. And it feels like we didn't really get much of like a Christmas run up into winter this year. So I kind of miss that element of winter, when you walk around the high street and there's all the Christmas lights on.
Yeah, I do agree. Had a very quiet opening section.
Yeah, I guess
it's okay. No, we get sentimental sometimes here on the UKLC podcast.
We're working on it. I am working on getting a podcast. Oh, hello.
That was a lot of damage.
Back to the tower. Akers is probably okay with that trade in the end.
Yeah, but Thorin Shield plus another pot ticking over with all the sustain that Renekton has means for now, Akers is going to have to reset as really dodging out on a dive. And None might be able to secure this top skull. It's a bit hard to tell yet. All right, he was on it for a while as, oh no, it's another pause.
No. Do you want to
stand up in time? You might have heard me move my mic at best. That's about
ruining the illusion here. We have had a quick lag problem, so I kind of, I jinxed it a little bit by saying that. But yeah, hopefully it won't be too long until we can get back into the game. But it's just, unfortunately, it's a quick restart of a router, and then we get back into the action, back into the game. But yeah, it's been a more relaxed start. There's obviously a reset coming in from Akers, but that will force him to go for an early teleport. Shader doesn't actually have to teleport back in. He can just reset on his turns, get whatever items he wants, probably like a cull or something at this point, and just walk back to lane.
Yeah. And all in all, I mean, talking about scaling in this game, it's tough. I think when you talk about the ease of execution and potential of wombo combo, it does help out in the scaling department, sort of in name. But I will say, if Jinx is capable of avoiding or is able rather to of avoiding some of the engage tools that London will have available to them,
Yeah.
I think she can really pop off because this is effectively still a relatively short-ranged composition from London. It's just a little bit mobile, and obviously it has the Malphite and the Leona to have to worry about if you're that Jinx.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does look like this issue is going to be going on a little bit more. So we have a bit more time to chill, a bit more time to fill. I guess we talked a lot about League of Legends today, mate. Honestly. Yeah. What was your first word? You don't know. I didn't actually have a first word. I had a first phrase. I used to say, "What's that?" and "What's that?" and "Is that?" or something. I can't remember what it was. It was something like that.
I could go ask my mother right now, but I don't want to walk off broadcast.
Get your mum on broadcast. Let's get.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Producer's saying it. If you don't do it, you're fired now.
No. It was probably mum or dad. It was probably a very
probably basic.
Yeah. I did actually start speaking quite young.
I mean, we all started speaking young, mate.
No, but like
That
younger than
wasn't
like
really
normal. Like younger than normal. Like I think most kids start like. When does a kid say that they would say its first word? Like
I don't know.
Year and a
I've got
half
time,
in?
so I'll look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, look it up. My guesstimation is like a year and a half up. As he leans forward onto the keyboard, he types in the Google phrase. He's hit enter right now.
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, he's a slow typer, guys. He's a slow typer. It's alright.
No, it's not like a quick sentence. Maybe milestones. Oh God, there's so many adverts. So many adverts. Baby talks at 3 months apparently, roughly. I don't know whether or not that's proper talking. I think that's more just goo goo gaga.
Goo goo gaga.
You know.
Yeah.
18 months. No, okay, 12 months. Okay, 9 months is the average then, apparently.
Okay.
For like no bye-bye, very short-term words. And then 12 to 18 months is dadas and slightly longer words.
Okay. That's useful information.
It's about 2 years is when they start to string words together.
Okay.
Which means Scandal's kid's probably at that point now. I can't remember how Rupert's...
Rupert's
got to be like 2 years old because I'll never forget the day that Rupert was born because we were on air. We were in London.
Yeah.
That was back in the old days.
I think I was it spring 19?
It must have been spring. Yeah, because he didn't work that summer.
Because I think I recall watching that broadcast.
Yeah.
And
I literally ordered a Wagamama's. Because I was done for the day. So I ordered a Wagamama's. I was just chilling in the back room. And he comes in, he's like, wife's having a kid. I gotta go. I was like, oh God. So I had to absolutely chug that Waggers and then come back. Because normally back on those shows, that was back when we had the ball system. Do you remember the draw?
Oh God.
Who hates the draw? I hated the draw. I loved the draw show. The draw show was great.
Listen, guys, I don't think we're grateful enough to DreamHack for.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. DreamHack. No tower, no draw at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was so rough.
Normalcy restored, man.
Because I remember there was one team that honestly got the shortest end of the stick. Like they basically
one team legit just got like
was it
XL Fnatic for like the entire split. I think it was Enclave.
I swear it was Enclave. I feel so sorry for them. They just had an entire split of just playing versus XL and Fnatic, and it was so doomed for them. I mean, it was doomed for everyone because that was back when the league definitely wasn't as balanced as the NLC is now, where it was literally only XL and Fnatic, and
they literally just lost to RNG.
Yeah, it actually did.
And worse, wasn't that the split that they came back from EU Masters, right? They went to EU Masters the previous split.
Yes, they had.
And then they just got absolutely bodied for an entire
railed.
It
was Orcs' fault. He was drawing the balls half the time.
Yeah,
I was just hosting it. I take absolutely no blame for it. I was voting for Eminem a lot back in those days, actually.
Yeah.
I had faith in you.
I wasn't even on Eminem in spring, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I joined in summer.
That's probably why I was voting for them then.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're back into the action. Back into our game. Thank you for sticking with us for the pause. Hopefully... I mean, if they stuck around through the chocolate puns, I think they can hang around for pretty much anything at this point. Let's be real.
If somehow you manage to get through 30 minutes of us making chocolate buns, then I think you can probably survive this game. I think we've got strong viewers. In mind and body, apparently. If that's the way.
Not only is it mentally taxing, it's physically taxing. Listen to us.
You hear somebody make chocolate puns, and I promise you things I can't say on
the
it.
They exhale the entire oxygen capacity in their lungs.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I felt like Johnny Rico was going to start this dragon here, just because the wave was starting to shove in, but it's going to return back to farming for now.
On a ward.
On a ward. Not a lot of proactivity so far come out from Johnny Rico on this pick. Typically, whenever we do see it, we like to see Xin Zhao get really up in the faces of laners to try and sort of leverage the amount of strength that this champion does have in that aspect, but not been quite successful so far. Again, a lot of bottom lane priority, as kind of predicted. As we could just see Dragon finally be started up. Yeah, he's been waiting around in the river for a while. Just wants his laners to actually shove in the waves. Oh no, Scuttle comes first.
Perhaps more important, then Dragon, as the Dragon will get started up here for Viperio. London, not really interested in contesting it. Like I said, it's kind of that level 6 markers where they want to start pulling those fights. No Name almost got that level 6 mark. He's potentially looking for a little something in the top lane. I think for the moment it's just stealing away the camp. No, he's not. He's waiting.
Wants to dive. Aka's is level 6.
Yeah.
I mean, but Sheeta's also got level 6. So all right.
I mean, they're just going. They're pulling him in. He's going to jump out as No Name. That was very optimistic. First blood to Sheeta.
Yeah. About as expected without Moonfall available to the Diana. So I'll let my silence answer whatever.
I said it. You gotta have your 6s. It's easy with your 6s. Yeah. Just take the camp. If you don't hit 6 off that, then it's not time.
Yeah.
Or they should have walked away when Shade of Dominus. Yeah. That was actually the ultimate time. They didn't take tower aggro. He just popped the Dominus, walk away. Burn the ultimate. Absolutely diddly squat.
Well, not a great start for the Diana, and let's see what Johnny Rico can do to capitalize. He's got actually Hase in his back pocket right now. With Tupi coming over to this blue buff, they're looking for an invade. I think they know. I don't know where or how, but they certainly know he's here.
He's got 6 though. Johnny Rico's coming in. Nenem does have the flash. He's just gonna have to give up his Gromp here. Johnny Rico just gonna wind become lightning it, as looks like Viperio are just gonna be quite happy to take this Rift Herald. They got Dragon, they got the Rift Herald, and that first blood. They're in a pretty commanding position here in these first 8 minutes of the game.
Yeah, certainly so. And it's just the nature of having Diana jungle. Normally, she's not really one that can skirmish too powerfully in the early game without having Ulma available to her, whereas Xin Zhao very happy to do so as Tupi.
Oh, he insects the Insecker! And Beely jumps away to safety. He does have that Dragon's Rage, but the Chain Lash will seal the deal.
Yeah. Beely was not expecting that one.
Oh, hello, there's the move from Jetfix coming in. He's going to look for the lockdown for the moment. No Name flashes away, but he's caught out by the hook, and that is Tupi able to find the kill. The tower shot will get another one as Johnny Rico, his wind becomes lightning, and the solar flare will almost get him, but it's just not quite enough. Jeppe goes for the play and unable to make it stick.
Yeah, very valiant effort from the London support, in all honesty. You gotta give it to him. It was just unfortunate that Johnny Rico just barely stepped out of tower range. Okay.
Someone's on the top side. Don't think Akers is in any real danger. He's got flash, he's got unstoppable. So kind of ultimate burn for nothing there by Shader. Maybe just getting a little bit too hypey.
Yeah, I just wanted to test the damage out. And you know what? I think you can call it a success. Nothing more to say from that. Can potentially gain in priority in the latest, the next couple of waves, but I think realistically Viperio won't be looking to play towards this side of the map. So kind of just blowing it for nothing, as we get a long look at the poor shopkeeper that just had to watch the True Shot Barrage fly past him.
Yeah, what did he do other than sell items? And speaking of items, Noonquiver pickaxe onto Kum Kum. You got the whips coming in for Shader and Johnny Rico, and so far kind of just in the component territory. Everybody working towards their next major items. Beely now got the Executioner's Call in there. That's one of the more crucial ones. Same for Akkas. They've got these anti-heals to kind of deal with the sustain laners in 2P and in Shader.
Yeah. And I was going to make a joke here, but I feel like Shader might be on the receiving end of a gank, depending on whether Akkas feels like walking forward. I guess thinking more on the wave as well. So you understand certainly why he wasn't able to make that gank work. And also, Billy did get spotted on a ward, so didn't quite feel like overforcing, but yeah. London, honestly, kind of struggling to find ins right now into this Viperio lineup, and especially after the mid lane fight, kind of just being a little bit outplayed in that skirmish. To be really coming in huge on the Silas so far. And it was something I called for, and I was hoping to see him on a different champion that wasn't Xerath. And we finally do get that, as Hase could be walking into trouble potentially. Nope. Just wave a hand.
The support's finding out where each other is, working with a little bit of information. Dragon spawning up in 34 seconds, and No Name is here. Solar Flare available. True Shot has just come off cooldown. Jeppe is Hex flashed over the wall, and he's coming in for the Zenith Blade. Hook's going to connect. Teleport's coming in. Solar Flare's going to get watched out for, but that is Hase flashing away to safety. As now Shader has popped the Dominus. It's going to be safe for the moment. Akkas not going to pull that trigger. Shader very eager to pop these Dominuses here, as he does look to lock down a couple of members. Just takes one good wombo from London, though. So Viperio just going to step away, and this Dragon may just go in their favor. The Shader jumps over the wall. That was a little risky. Rift El's going to get summoned, and that might just be a whole bunch of plates as Shader gets Dominus onto, Zenith Blade onto, and popped by No Name.
Yeah, I think Shader trying to call Akkas' bluff. You won't ult me and me alone, but eventually he runs out of patience, ults him. Shader doesn't flash away from it. Feels he won't die to the burst, but when you've got all 4 champions standing in front of you, I promise you, you will, as he's just experienced. And London finally pick up a dragon to their name. Herald was dropped in the mid lane though, so plates were traded for that one, so at least something made in return.
100% cloud rate, by the way, today.
Oh yeah, 4 for 4. 4 for 4, so...
Oh, hold on. Junglers are both on the bottom side. There's the hook, and depth charge is going to land on Mankey. Looks like No Name's not even going to join in, as Jeppe trying to make a great escape, but the Zap will connect, and this will be the end of days for the Leona. Nowhere to go. Hase secures the kill. Couple of ultis used, and No Name may look for something here, as Kun takes a lot of damage from Mankey. That might be enough just to force them in, but no, they're not going to step away. It's the True Shot just to chip through the wave. Meanwhile, Kopi steals away the unstoppable force, jumps in onto Akkas. Akkas going very, very low here. Akkas doesn't have ultimate, and he's going to go low. Mankey all alone now as the hook is shifted into, and that will be the end of days for him. The tower shots are beautifully juggled, and Beely coming in to see if he can maybe find a little something here.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Viperio are giving London the works right now. There's not really much an answer that London have been able to find so far from the aggression that Viperio have constantly been layering down in place after place. So I say that they might. No, I don't think they're going to be able to, though they could chase a while. Shader does have flash if he wants to.
There's the Moonfall, there's the Dominus. They're trying to lock him in place long enough, but No Name very low here, but that's not going to be low enough, as the Zenith Blade will be enough, and the Everfrost comes in. The flash by No Name to safety. And honestly, it just feels a little bit like these plays have been massive disrespect from London. Like, No Name recalled on that bot lane dive when he knew that Mankey was going to be isolated, and Mankey either should have just given up the plates or the tower and reset with his jungler, or No Name should have hung around to help and make sure that the dive was dissuaded. It's just massive disrespect from London, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, right now, London, something's going on. Something's not quite right, but give credit to Viperio where it's due. Certainly playing this one out pretty well, and again, they've got this hyper carry in the Jinx, who they haven't necessarily been able to funnel a whole bunch of gold into in terms of kills, but still had a free enough time and been involved in a lot of skirmishes. So now she's allowed to sort of just be in the mid lane for the meantime, pick up some CS and scale. Thinking about the Hex Flash there. Honestly, it can really be a menace if she's allowed to kind of, not necessarily free hit, but just avoid the only true hard engage tools available on London via the Leona and Malphite ultimates. She should be okay. And with the front line that Viperio have, it's pretty plausible.
We can take stock of the items now. Got double Gore Drinker on Viperio. And the Everfrost and Kraken to just Divine Thunder and Nash's Tooth right now. The London definitely in an item deficit. This 2k gold lead being felt somewhat, although members are resetting. You did see the Gore Drinker just finished up by Beely on this reset, so slowly but surely starting to catch themselves back up a little bit here. Mankey kind of hasn't even got the tier, so it's going to be a long way away until that Manamune is finished up for him.
Yeah, it is going to be a little while, but once Ezreal gets online, he's certainly going to hurt. But again, it's Ezreal into, you know, I can't actually quite remember what Johnny Rico was building. I think he said he had a Gore Drinker. So it's going to be effectively, you know, 2 tanks and 2 bruisers. He's going to have a lot on his plate in terms of being able to layer in the damage. But that being said, a lot of targets to hit. As teams
coming in, actually, they've got a good Moonfall opportunity, only catching 1. No, completely fumbling it. And what is Beely doing? Beely goes in for the flash, has to jump away as the Zap will connect. Rift Ode is secured by London, so, you know, I'll take that back a little bit. Turns out they had a bit of a game plan there.
No, the intent from Beely was good. He's looking for that insect onto Kumkum, but the angle was just a little bit, it wasn't quite doable just because of where Kumkum was holding up against the wall. And they couldn't quite ward hop and truly kick the Jinx back into the team. So just ends up flashing away, saving his own life. Plate, I was about to say plates dropping in the mid lane, but there is no more plates. Herald, I'm gonna just chunk out this tower. Mankey will secure it.
I also gave them the pressure in the mid lane to turn their attention towards this dragon, but spawning up in 5 seconds time. Moonfall not available, Solar Flare is available, but there is no kick, so it's going to be Solar Flare and Unstoppable as they jump straight in, but the hook lands onto Mankey. Mankey locked down for so long as Johnny Rico not going down yet, and 2P able to jump in. That's already 1 kill picked up for London as the damage from Mankey is slowly starting to ramp up, but 2P has himself the Unstoppable Force, and he's going to look for that opportunity. Beely slides straight back in, and now Jefe on the run. Mankey trying to kite and fight his way through, but London are the ones losing this team fight. Beely jumps over the wall, and he might just try and look for a quick kill onto 2P. Mankey jumps out to safety. He has got the flash, so he can still dodge that Unstoppable Force as the teleport is coming in, and Mankey on the run, but the Crocodile will chase him down. Locked down, and the CC is just too much for Mankey. He is taken out, and Shader will secure the kill.
Yeah, honestly, Viperio just find a good fight. Johnny Rico survives for so much longer than he should, especially without ultimate too. I'd love to get a replay to see exactly how that's happening, to be honest with you, in that mosh pit of a fight, because quite frankly, the fact that he doesn't die for so long means that Kumkum goes untouched for that bit longer. And Shida as well, just buying so much time in this team fight. Get a look at it here as starts off, Arce kind of walking in to Mankey on the bottom side, but you can see Johnny Rico just locked down, but the Gore Drinker heal plus a couple of shields is coming through with the CC. He's just not being right-clicked. I don't know what else to say. Akka's eventually ults in onto Kumkum, and 2P actually at this moment doesn't have the Unstoppable available. I think it's just a visual bug on the ultimate, so doesn't have the trigger to pull yet. The kick comes through from Beely, but it doesn't execute Kumkum, and he doesn't path up towards the blue buff either, and eventually the teleport comes back down from Shida, and they take down Mankey.
20 minutes in, and it's a 3,000 gold lead to Viperio now, and that is starting to scale to a point where it is getting problematic for London. Mankey got himself the tier. And was that a visual bug? Because that tier is stacked up very quick. Did he have that and it just was invisible? He's got 306 stacks.
If it works, I think it works if you're hitting champions at stats a tad faster as well.
True. Actually, I didn't see if he had it in the last fight.
Unless that's just the ARAM version. I don't think it is. I think the ARAM version actually just stats a flat higher amount. But yeah, he has stacked it quite quickly. That's for sure. So only needs the longsword plus the combined cost to actually finish up that item. When he does, he's going to be very strong. And given how a lot of the early game's gone, a 3,000 gold lead is something that's very comebackable.
Yep, absolutely.
So Viperio, you'd like to see them try and find another in somewhere to try and extend this advantage. But for now, it's London with a lot of the control on the map. A lot of the first moves throughout these lanes right now. See the vision just sort of scattered throughout the bottom side. Nothing really going on the top side towards the Baron, which has just spawned. So we'll see whether the focus from either of this teams shifts over to that.
Well, 20-minute marks here, and the Essence Reaver has just been, not Essence Reaver, Phantom Dancer, there we go. It's just been finished up for Kum, so that entire item over Mankey, although Mankey probably closing in somewhat on the Manamine, so getting closer as Doopy looks for Beely, and Beely able to jump away. Dragon spawning up in 2 minutes time, so not really too much to do around here, and London, they can afford to give it up. First of all, it's a soul, Cloud Soul, so it's not the end of the world. I mean, like I said, they are a team that do like to use their ultimates, so more cooldown reduction on them is going to be impactful. But so far, we've yet to see that big wombo. That last fight started with No Name only ulting Johnny Rico, not the target he needed to find. And there was no real follow-up as well on that anyway, so... But now, just a true shot onto Hase, but barely tickles him.
Yeah. And I think whilst we have a brief respite, I do think it's important to talk about, you know, the position that Viperio are in right now, just in general, in terms of, you know, how big this kind of is for a team that you would expect to, you know, probably be on the bottom half of the table, into an organization like London, who of course have had relatively strong results quite recently. Has to feel good if you're rooting for Viperio at the moment.
And there's big expectations for London as well.
Yeah.
You know, they had a good last split, coming second. And Viperio, you know, new kids on the block. Got to show them what you're made of. But for now, Viperio, who are in a pretty demanding position, as the Manamine has now been finished up, or at least the Mirror Mana. Not fully stacked. Actually, that's stacked, isn't it?
Yeah, it's stacked.
No.
Jake.
I can't remember which one looks like what.
Oh, no, man. Well, hey.
Jeppe gets himself in a lot of trouble here, but Johnny also going low, has to use the ulti. No Name not going to pull that trigger. Those traps would have instantly stopped him in his wake. That's going to be Jeppe going in for a quick kill. It's a true shot, just a chunk. Kum.
A lot of damage.
Oh, no.
And that's a Malphite ultimate.
That is a Malphite ultimate. Jeppe not with the team as well. Got chunked out pretty heavily in that previous engagement, although Mankey able to poke out Kum and Johnny a little bit, so they haven't gone for the reset themselves. 30 seconds till this dragon spawns up, so there's still time for them to try and find some sustain. And there is a gore drinker as well on Johnny, so he's okay. Kum also got a bit of innate sustain thanks to the runes.
It's London with the setup right now. Despite the gold deficit, they're the ones with the priority. And Viperio gonna have to check into a lot of fog, but they do have the Malphite ultimate in pocket, which it does have a bit of a timer on it, but I don't think it's gonna short out before whatever fight we see unfold happens. As you can see, he's trying to get into a bit of a position for it, but there's just a lot of vision around this, so he's definitely not gonna find a flank. It's gonna have to be a frontal engage from Viperio. As London catching the wave actually means that they're going to yield a bit of positioning here. Now it's London who are going to have to check in.
They do still have some of that vision to work with, though. It's slowly but surely being cleared out, and now it's timed out. So this is the true shot. They got a ward for the teleports to come in. The hook goes a little bit wide, and TP still got that ultimate. The teleport flank's coming in. Johnny's been poked out, and London may just have to turn and burn onto the crocodile. There's the charge, there's the lockdown, there's the stun.
Oh.
That's all they needed. Mankey's taken out by Kum, and Beely unable to join the fray. Looking for the moonfall onto 4 members. He's able to get it as a good kick comes in from Beely. Johnny Rico's low head.
Kum is on,
but the
look
sustain
at him.
is just way too much. It's a double kill picked up for 2P. And London just get flattened.
Yeah, they do. There's a bit of a bounce house going on in the river, but at the end of the day, 180 carry gets immediately popped, and the other one is a Jinx who gets the free auto attack from start to finish. Not threatened at all. No flash, no cleanse burn from London onto the AD carry of Viperio, and that's just going to be Baron going over. Plain and simple. Nothing else to say here.
There's no way they can contest it. And again, I hark back to what I said at the beginning of the game. It feels like disrespect.
Yeah.
London not respecting the fact that 2P had that ultimate. Mankey thinking that they were capable of kiting with the dashes, with the flashes. And ultimately, you see here, playing very far forward on the Ezreal, not behind your front line. You get CC'd.
Yeah, exactly. And you just get Malphite ulted, isn't able to shift away from it, can't flash, get stunned up, and just look at Kumkum throughout this entire fight. Rockets, miniguns. Anytime he has the opportunity to go from one to the other, and he's just untouched. And it doesn't really matter what's going on in this mosh pit. You've got a Jinx with 2 items, with that Kraken Slayer and PD, just throwing AoE damage into the meat grinder. Always going to win that fight when it starts off as a 4v5. Now
Absolutely.
London desperate, you can see. Just by positioning, staying, waiting in death rushes, hoping Viperio path through this way, but when you see a jungler pushing bottom lane, you know this isn't your territory, so Viperio just ignoring it. They're going through the top side. Going through mid, now you've got a reset. I don't know if there's a plausible way without Viperio having unforced errors occur. I don't think there's a way that London could come back into the game right now.
7k gold lead is way too much for them right now. Almost that third item on the Jinx as well. Kumkum getting closer and closer. Mankey severely lacking in the wave clear department, and that is a key problem with this team in general. Not a lot of wave clear unless you get up and personal to the waves, and these cannons just free firing away onto the turret now. We're curious to see whether or not we actually see an inhibitor tower get taken here, or if Viperio are just going to look to take out all of the other towers, and they're just extending that gold lead further and further. Ultimates are up, so maybe some kind of a miracle engage, but that requires Jefe not losing half his health over the wall.
Billy's still bot. Billy's finally recalling. So this is going to be an inhib drop with a fair amount of Baron left on it, which means you've got about 2 waves to work with where you'll have supers. And you can just rotate up to the top side. Dragon's Lair for another 3.5 minutes. You've all got Baron. And now it's on London to engage and make something happen. Otherwise, if they don't, they can't find the angle. They're just going to slow bleed and lose.
Yeah, but we did just see like a massive ultimate from No Name in the previous fight, and it tickled Viperio. It did nothing to them. That's going to be the big problem here. I just don't know if they have the damage to make it stick. If Mankey can poke and prod them down beforehand, then potentially the assassination potential is there. If Mankey isn't instantly blown up by the CC, then potentially it is there, but we'll have to see. London now defending their top lane inhibitor tower here. So Viperio still got plenty of time left on this Baron. It feels like this could just be donezo for them if they can't find that dream opportunity, that perfect moment, that flash of brilliance.
Yeah, it is a very, very unfortunate situation to be in if you are London. And I mean, I say unfortunate, it's kind of earned. They weren't really able to make anything happen in the early game. The one dive that they attempted onto the Renekton was just misplaced optimism.
Yep. There's no dragon over here as well, so London not really got too much to do on the defending side of it. They just need some time, some items to come in, as Beely has to be careful. He might just get jumped onto. The flash, the auto, the CC's too much, and Beely, you're going down, friend. Able to jump the wall, actually, but the ignite is ticking, and he is burning. Johnny Rico flashes to finish up the kills. The ultimate from the Jinx would have done the deal anyway, so.
That it would. Another look at a global from the other shopkeeper. Just trying to keep rent low, Jinx and Ezreal. As a Viperio, I mean, they've got all the pressure in the world. There's not really much to talk about at the moment. London, again, the only in is a miracle. Realistically.
Yeah. 30 minutes on the clock, and it just feels like London, you know, it's one Baron away from this game going over against them. And it's 1 minute 50 until that Baron does spawn up. Dragon in a minute, but neither team looking at Soul anytime soon as well. Both only have 2 dragons apiece. So we've got a while to go until we see a potential Soul. And I think this game's probably moving at a pace where we probably won't see a Soul come into play. We might see this last dragon get taken, but I think it's all going to be about this Baron in 1 minute 30. That could just be the game-defining moment here.
Yeah. And certainly, if it does go the expected result of what we've been thinking now for at least the last 5 to 15 minutes, really. Certainly a very, very disappointing loss for London roster, which maybe you would say on paper, when you think about having a player like Den Voxnay and losing him,
yeah,
may not be a direct upgrade, but more or less the expectations of coming off the back of what was a very successful split, making it Telia. It would be very disappointing to lose out to a team that just made it up from UKL.
Yeah, really would be. Now, Dragon's going to go over. That's pretty much expected, but now they're just going to bolt towards this top side of the map. London are going to have to find a miracle here if they're going to want to hold on to this game, but I just don't think they have what it takes.
And Viperio, I mean, all they really have to do now, like you say, alluded to earlier, it's just the Baron. You wait in front of the Baron, you bring London into you. Now, granted, it is one of the more dangerous positions for them to put themselves in front of the pit versus what is effectively a wombo combo comp. But just by sort of shrouding the area in darkness, it's all you really need to do. And eventually London will have to come and check. And if they don't, you just get a Baron for free. And if you get a Baron for free, well, in this kind of scenario, you'd expect a game close.
Looks like Viperio are going to be able to take this one. Toby's got the Malphite are ready to go.
Yeah, he's waiting.
He is waiting. He's ready.
And again, Viperio, they've got all of the time in the world right now. They know how far ahead they are. And if we could just get a brief toggle, hopefully a fight doesn't starve the vision, actually, for London, because there's nothing going for them. It's just complete darkness. And all they got to do is starve the Baron whenever they feel like it, and there you go. And this will all burn down quick. The 3-item Jinx.
I mean, I don't. Without a true shot barrage stealing this, I just don't think London have a hope in hell of contesting it.
Yeah, and Mankey's Ultimate just came with cooldown.
There it is. Baron secured on all 5 members. The gold's cashed in. They're going to spend the gold. Look at the stopwatches as well in the inventory. That, to me, is signaling they want one last fight. They want one last shove to close this game out, as Infinity Edge has been finished up onto Kun for a little while. Followed it up with a Last Whisper and that stopwatch. I think Viperio are going to look to close this one out.
Yep, seems to be the case. As it's definitely been a bit of a slow one since Viperio have attained their lead, but can you really blame them, given the circumstances? Taking a win off of a team like London, so big for an organization which realistically, you can always ask a team what are your expectations, and they'll always say to win, but for Viperio, it's about cementing themselves as a UKLC team.
Yeah.
And
those are low damage numbers. You can.
When,
you can tell
when
the tone
teams
of us
aren't interacting with each other.
Yeah. We've been quite mundane today, melancholy, mundane, quiet in this particular game, because it has kind of just been.
It's a slow burner. Like it's not much to go on.
They're looking for the fight though. Those traps, though, are just going to completely cut them down. The Solar Flare lands on Johnny Rico. Once again, not the key targets as the teleport's there. Here's the turnaround. Here's the hook. No Name's able to keep himself out of this for the moment, but Shader jumps in for the moment. Watch for Topi. Akers misses the charge. The rocket goes the wrong way, but Topi gets a massive charge off. The ult comes in from No Names. He goes into the stopwatch, but he is unstoppable right now. Beely jumping to safety, but absolutely cut through by Viperio. The slow burner has finally cooked, and this is going to be the game for Viperio. They take out London. They take out one of the strongest teams in the league, or at least one of the most theoretically strongest teams in the league. 34 minutes on the clock. And Viperio take the win.
Very impressive from Viperio, honestly. And you have to ask questions of London naturally. This is a roster that we're expecting to finish top 10. This is a roster that we're expecting again to want to go the distance, right? You make it once to Telia, you want to make it again back to back. And this is not the kind of performance that you want to put out to show that. But from the point of view of Viperio, they've got to be ecstatic. Again, I mean, we had the manager last time around, and we saw how happy he was about securing the win last week. So, for Viperio, celebrate. Be happy about this win, because quite frankly, it was very well earned. And again, taking wins like this, especially when the expectations aren't necessarily so high can be so important for the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a low damage game. It was definitely a slow burner game, like you said. But at the end of the day, Viperio, they get a very clean win. They were not contested. I think, London did make some mistakes. London did definitely disrespect them in the early game, but Viperio didn't give them the opportunity to come back. I think that's the crucial thing here. While the opportunity, while London, were able to fall behind due to mistakes and Viperio were able to capitalize on those mistakes, it was then Viperio that didn't throw that game. They didn't get too cocky. They played that game very clean and very smart, and it was a really, really solid victory there for Viperio. Now that puts them ahead of the pack a little bit there. Really, really good game for them. We will be having an interview with their top laner fairly soon, but I think what we can do for now, hopefully they're all ready to go. So let's bring up the drawing board, Jamada, and you can break down your favorite play from this game.
Yeah, so I'm honestly gonna mostly play it out because there's not too much to talk about in terms of, I think I need to refresh the clip. 1 second, there you go. Is this the correct? Yes, it is. So you can see London actually have Viperio kind of in this pincer where you've got 3 members from the top side, Beely on the bottom side threatening a flank, and Viperio realistically have to kind of retreat up into this choke, which cannot necessarily be it is not necessarily the most ideal position to be in. But the teleport comes down, and immediately Viperio know they've got a little bit of pressure, so they start moving forward away from the flanker into the core 4. You can see immediately the Malphite ult is used onto Mankey, and the flash comes forward over the wall here as well from the Renekton, and it's just immediate CC into burst, into dying. He gets the flash, sure, but that's about all he gets to do now. Keep our eyes on Kum because this is the man on Viperio that does so much work in this team fight. You can see Lune comes in from the top side, Beely comes in from the bottom side, but no one is hitting our man in the 80 carry roll on Viperio. And I'm just gonna let it play out. Keep your eyes on this man here. Nothing's happening to him. He's just avoiding every single ability. He's just going in between rockets and in between minigun and just layering out all of the DPS. And even though, yes, I don't even know if he got more than 1 kill credit in that fight. He didn't get a single kill credit, at least according to the HUD here in the replay. He probably dealt the most damage in that fight just because everybody on London was clumped up and he was allowed effectively to just get free hits.
It was honestly a really, really nice composite team fighting well from Viperio because, I hit on the compositions at the beginning and I said, London have the easier to execute comp. They just didn't ever find those opportunities. They didn't ever make the big wombo combo work. And Toby on the Silas actually was more impactful with the Malphite ultimates than the Malphite. So it was it was honestly a really, really good game there by Viperio. I know there's technically AP scaling, so you do more damage with it, but it was more the usage in the sense that Toby was hitting multiple members with the Malphite R when it was normally like a maximum 2. Maybe we had like 1 good 3. I think that fight was like the only time where we saw like a multi-man Malphite R.
I think there's a problem when your Malphite isn't hitting the best Malphite ultimates in the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's problematic.
Yeah.
There are a lot of key tools for them to work with as well, because like we said as well, not a bad ultimate for the Silas to take away. Now, anyway, we actually do have the top laner for Viperio Shared standing by for an interview.